Yellowstone to Yosemite with Kevin Costner review. On Teddy Roosevelt's trail. The actor hosts a 3-part documentary on Fox Nation about Yosemite National Park and a legendary camping trip there in 1903, when naturalist John Muir lobbied the president to better protect the nation's natural wonders. The Yellowstone of Yellowstone to Yosemite with Kevin Costner is more an allusion to Mr. Costner's very popular TV drama than to the national park. It is Yosemite that is the focus of this visually gorgeous 3-part documentary and a story born out of a confluence of tragic events that resulted in something incredible. It doesn't seem that Yosemite National Park needs any advertising. It is synonymous with soaring vistas, abundant wildlife, breathtaking waterfalls, and overcrowding. About 4 million people visit every year, and the common wisdom is not to go in summer. Mr. Costner doesn't. "I like camping," he says, before crawling into his tent one night. "I don't like freezing." The Oscar-winning actor-director is also an executive producer, so he likely knew what he was in for. Why be cranky? Besides, the story that serves as the fulcrum of Yellowstone to Yosemite is set in a late winter in the mountains, the snowy May of 1903. That, as Mr. Costner relates, is when President Theodore Roosevelt and the famed naturalist John Muir went camping together, the environmentally inclined Manhattanite needing a break from the campaign trail, and the Scottish immigrant ecologist wanting the president to put some federal teeth into protecting America's natural wonders. Abraham Lincoln had made Yosemite protected land in 1864. Ulysses S. Grant had signed the Yellowstone National Park Protection Act of 1872, which was a much. And in 1890, Muir successfully lobbied Congress to make Yosemite Valley and its surrounding area a national park. But none of this did anything to stop the wholesale slaughter of wildlife, clear-cutting of timber, and mining of gold that was despoiling the landscape, right under the nose, or with the complicity of California. Muir had an instinct about Roosevelt, who was on a multi-state tour anticipating his first presidential election. He had ascended to the office when William McKinley was assassinated in 1901. Teddy showed up in Yosemite on May 15, 1903, and promptly abandoned his hosts and entourage for a 3-day excursion in the woods with Muir. "Imagine that happening now," says Mr. Costner. "The President of the United States shows up at a campaign event and suddenly vanishes into the wilderness. Imagine." But Roosevelt knew his way around a campfire. And despite some hellacious weather, he was seduced by Yosemite. The show's conceit is that Mr. Costner is heading out on his own camping trip and prepping for it with a camera crew pursuing him, but there is obviously a script by Patrick DeLuca, and it involves all the relevant details about both principals. Roosevelt, the asthmatic son of privilege from New York who was prescribed fresh air, fell in love with the outdoors and became an advocate for conservation. Muir, whose father moved the family to Wisconsin because Scottish Protestantism was too lax, was drawn to nature even as a boy, spent years wandering the wilds of America, and then took his ingenuity into manufacturing. There, a freak accident nearly left him blind, and the idea of no longer seeing sent him back into the untamed West, where he would become one of the country's most influential advocates for keeping wild places wild. He would find a kindred spirit in Mr. Costner. Mostly. "God, I love this country," the actor says, trying to snuggle under covers. Everything about it, even the cold. Yellowstone to Yosemite with Kevin Costner.